they're out yet this morning, so we're in good shape.
Hey.
How we doing?
Did you find that wooden back of your truck?
This is a smallish earth oven. We find this size in the archaeological record in Texas, and then they get bigger in Texas. I've seen them 2 to 3 times the size. Mike Quigg has dug a number of them. How many of you have dug in burned rock middens and seen, okay, well in the middens, the trick in an archaeological midden is looking for the big rocks that haven't fractured yet. As these things heat up, we've already heard several of them pop. They fracture and break. You want to avoid flint at all costs because flint explodes. There actually is a skeleton at Tarl in Austin where the tibia has numerous embedded flint chips in it from a flint nodule that exploded in a fire. That can't be a fun thing. So when you're looking for earth oven, you want a good source of rocks and a good source of wood. And as Woody can attest, you don't want to cart your wood and rocks around. You want that to be where you are doing your earth oven. It's easier to bring your food to your oven and have it close to your rocks and wood. In this situation, we're using little river cobbles. Up at Fort Hood, we see that, but we also see big tabular slabs where you have the bedrock slopes, and they're getting slabs that are sometimes 3, 4, 5 inches thick, and they're huge. So there's a lot of variation in the kinds of rocks that go into these things. Limestone is very, very common. Any good hard limestone is generally going to be a good material for this kind of an oven because it traps that heat in it and it gives it off slowly over time. So what we're going to do next is I'm going to take my authentic Native American tool and I'll use it to move everything around, make sure all the wood's burned up, and in the next hour or so I'll probably pull up the rocks and create that layer of rocks at the top. Then I'm going to take the prickly pear pads and literally line that whole thing with the prickly pear pads. Then we'll take our food, our store-bought food that's in a bag, HEB bag over there, and we will put it in. I'll probably wrap the whole thing in a towel just to make it easier and cleaner when we open it up. We'll put more prickly pear pads over it. Then we'll get the dirt, put the dirt back on, and ethnographically these things can be mounted quite high. There's a photo in my program tomorrow with the Mescalero Apache, and their mound is 4 or 5 feet tall. And if I need more dirt, I've got more dirt all around here. So in a lot of archaeological situations, we seem to see that kind of a thing where you'll have a little ring where there is debris that's a little bit deeper than your earth oven. Now, in terms of burned rock mounds and middens, once these rocks have been heated up one time, some of them will break. Some of them can be reused. So if I want to do another oven, I don't have to go and dig over there. I can come right back here. I've opened it up already. So I get out the rocks, I throw away the small fractured ones that aren't any good anymore. I set the good ones aside and we start the process over. We bring in some new rocks, but somewhere around here there's going to be a pile of fractured ones. These rocks might be good for 2 or 3 heatings, maybe 4 or 5, depends on the rocks. But at some point, every one of them will reach its thermal stress limit and it will fracture, and then we throw it out. So if you come back to the same spot time and time again and reuse that pit, then you're going to create this ring of fire-cracked rock around it. And that's what we see in West Texas and in Central Texas. That's what created these burned rock mounds and even the burned rock middens. Yes?
For economy of heat, what's your size throwaway? About fist size?
Yeah, probably so.
Repeat the question, Doug.
The question is, for the economy of heating, what is the smallest size that is still usable?
Okay.
And in part that depends on where you are in the world and your source of rock. If you're in Central Texas and you've got ample rock, by all means, anything that's even double fist size, chunk it out and start over. Get you some new stuff. But if you're on the margins of an area where your stone is limited in size, you may go with a little bit smaller size, and that's okay. If you find stones that really stand up to heating well, and they're about this size, if those will last 4 or 5 heatings, then that's your preferred stone. That's your good stuff. So sometimes these river cobbles, they've already been sorted in the river. Any natural fractures in them have been winnowed out, and you're looking at pretty tough rock. So we do see a lot of use of the river stones. So that's pretty. Chiguilla cakes that were baked in an earth oven and then pounded up and formed into little cakes, and then Neil Stilley just sealed them in. These are, let's see, this was 2005, and these things on their own will keep several years if they're kept. But the this stuff is nasty. I mean, it wouldn't kill you, but it would probably make you a little bit ill if you ate a bunch of it. But if you cook it, it converts from complex carbohydrates to simple starch and sugar, and it'll get sweet. Just like these onions will caramelize and they'll be sweet. Same thing happens with all of these roots and tubers. It brings out the starches and sugars in them. So the coals are still extremely hot. Those rocks, in the studies they've done where they've drilled in the rocks and put thermocouples to measure the temperature in the rocks, they're probably 500-600 degrees inside that rock.
Wow.
So that's a great heating element. That's going to just be hot for a long time. When we open up this tomorrow, you still will not be able to handle those rocks. They're going to be that hot that they would burn you pretty quickly. After 48 hours, they're still going to be too hot to handle. 3/4 of this pile of wood. Okay. So not all that much wood either. You don't have to heat them in an earth oven. You could just heat them in open fire if you want to do stone boiling. And we see that at Fort Hood. We actually have a site where we have earth ovens and mounds, but right beside it, we had a dump of smaller fist-sized cobbles. And I'm convinced that was a dump of stone boiling. It's because it's mounded up and there's no charcoal. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is just start lining this puppy up.
It's so cool.
And I love these spineless prickly pears.
Yeah.
We want a good thick layer so that our food is not going to be touching any of it.
When I punch you with needles on it, do you burn them off first or let them burn off?
Now, you can, yeah. See a little bit more. Yeah, and the trick is to get this going before it drives off the moisture and catches this on fire.
Yeah. So work fast.
That'll leave me a couple for the top.
And you said you did burn the spines off of...
No, I do not. If I could get somebody to help me, what I want you to do is just pour some of that on this thing and just get it kind of wet. Yeah, maybe the bottom side here. Let's do it. Yeah. Oops. Just a little bit where it's going to sit on the... Yeah, it's good enough.
More water.
Okay.
I have a bottle bag.
Oh, okay. If you got a little bit, I'll put a little bit more on. All that does is it just, in case it burns through this.
Yeah. Here, you want to? I'll step back so you can get a good picture of the cactus bag. I can see over here.
Okay. I think I brought my camera with me, but
Okay.
I didn't bring it here today. Oh, good.
So, here's our food packet.
Doug, would you expose those so we can get the...
Oh, sure, yeah,
we
you
just
betcha.
missed the
You
photo
betcha.
op.
Here,
More important, no.
here you go. Photo op.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Let's see. Is that well?
Yeah, probably so, if it didn't burn. And then I'm going to one more over it, just to, oh, no, one, prickly pear pads.
There we go.
With native dye.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, there you go. So, say yes.
No heckling.
Could you use so-and-so as your package?
Yes. Yeah, the leaves. Yeah, the leaves is exactly what they
We have a lot of that. We don't have. I think I've eradicated all the prickly pear on our property.
Oh yeah?
They are hard to kill.
Yes, they are. Okay.
You got a space on the far side, Doug.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's probably good enough. And then this just to make it easier for the.
Before you do the cloth,
One more photo. We don't care about eating. We just want pictures, right? It's not sustenance.
okay.
It's
Thank you.
Okay, you betcha.
we just
And all there is to it. So at this point, we just cover it up.
Quick, get a picture of that.
Maybe a movie.
The thing that hurts is that's true. This is the first time I've had a shovel in a long time. I shovel more paperwork than dirt these days.
I bet
So
you
your
enjoy
dirt
this
will
more.
seal it.
Yeah, and you're losing some of your heat. So you just feel along the edges and keep checking it. At the end, once I've got the mound up, I've got two of these thermometers that I'm going to shove in and try and get them into where the food is cooking, so we can see the temperature inside that food pack area.
Did you get speed that they recovered it? Some.